question is, what is the right thing that you need in your business? Are you starting with chatbots and thinking that will take you to the next level? Are you using agentic services, or are you still focused on the human? Those right now are the three biggest choices that we want to look at today at Iconic TV. And what we're talking about is how we can capitalize on the rapidly growing trend of AI so that you can scale your business from 6 figures to 7 figures in profit in a year or less. Everything that we're going to teach you is following 4 simple steps because most people are overcomplicating things. And by overcomplicating things, you are actually slowing down your progress. As somebody who ran a racing company, we're very much focused on speed. It's one of our niches. And when you can go very fast, you have to be singularly focused on one thing. And that's what we want you to start with, is looking at your business. Number one thing, wherever you are, you know that at some point you're going to need to integrate AI into your business. The question is when? And which way? Do you start really small? Do you have everybody try it? Do you have a few people try it? Do you put it in silos? What's the right way? What's the wrong way? I'll show you what people are doing right, what people are doing wrong today, and then I'm going to show you exactly what you need to do to get it done in the smoothest way possible so you actually profit with it. A lot of people are putting a lot of things into action, but nothing's happening. They're just really proud of their creations, but they haven't really created any profit. We see that a lot with businesses and when we're out talking to them in our workshops, etc. So let's look at it for you. And what do you want to do, right? One of the big things that people are talking about a lot is cloning yourself. And make a clone of yourself. 1, 2, 3, 4, and they're, yay, I don't go live. Well, you're going to know here, I am literally live, and all kinds of crazy things happen when you're live. So hopefully all of our tech will work. Everything will work today. But this is really the real me. I haven't faked anything. And we want you to see that you have to have both. You can't have your business just rely on automation and AI. It has to be a combination. And then the question is, who supersedes who? Is AI on top or is the human on top? What do you think? What's happening in your business? And put in there, how much are you using it now? What platforms are you using? What's making it work for you? So we're going to go forward and really dive into this because we want you to know that as you're thinking about this, you can do everything on your own. You can create it. A lot of people are creating all these big systems and adding all these extra computers and designing it all themselves and trying to keep up with the constant changes. And that's really fabulous for some people. But for the average business owner, you don't have time to add in a whole other business of managing your AI. So let us build it for you. We can show you exactly how to build an agentic workforce, set it up for you, and you can run it, or we can oversee it for you. So our platform that we use is called Morgentic. We're going to talk about that. And if you want to have a trial of it and put it to work and see, is this something I can use, or is this just another one of those toys? Okay, let us do it for you in a simplified way. And I really want to talk about the concept first of AI and what you're trying to really think about, because what you're trying to do is design a workforce that will speed up the growth of your business and slow down the amount of work that you have to do yourself. And what a lot of people don't understand is the sort of structure that you need to build. And a lot of people have the human in the middle. What you need to have is the agents in the middle, the automations, if you will. A lot of people think automations and workflows. Now we're going to talk about that in a minute, why that's actually not the thing that you're really looking to do. But we talk about human on, not human in the system, okay? That's a big difference, because here's what's happening. If you look closely at this, you see who is actually leading all these automation strategies. And where you look at the biggest impact here is in the C-suite. That's who's leading it, who's running it, right? And how it's changing from 2015, or excuse me, 2025 and the year before. So here we are live in 2026. And you see, there's a lot more growth here on the C-suites. But what about everybody else? Why is everybody else not doing it? And too much burden is actually on this level. And you need to democratize your workload so that everybody has an ability to access it, because what's happening is there's operational drag, and that just means you're basically burning rubber at the start line. If you want to think about it this way, if you're looking at, like, from physics, my PhD is in physics, so if you're looking at the physics of things and how they move and the drag coefficient is what it's called, right? Think of like when you get married and people dress up their wedding cars with cans and strings and all kinds of accoutrements. Well, it's slowing down the vehicle. This is what's happening with a lot of people in their business. They're adding on all these parts and pieces. They're Frankensteining their business with AI add-ons from different people everywhere, and it's just slowing them down. You don't see a just married car going 200 miles down the road. You see a sports car that's aerodynamic and sleek, and everything works together. So what is the system that you are actually operating on? Because if you think about it, most systems of communication are broken. What a lot of people are doing is they're actually treating AI like this, like, oh, I'm going to bring in an agent or a tool or a toy, and this one speaks Japanese, and this one French, and this one Russian, and this one sign language. And you expect them to all have a conversation together. It's not going to happen, right? So that's what we're saying, is that lines of communication are just broken. And remember when you were kids and you'd hold up a can to your ear and you'd talk to the other person in the can? Nothing came out right, did it? And what's happening now is that a lot of people they're not letting go of the cans. They are still using it, right? They're just thinking, well, they're shinier now. It must be better. But it isn't. Guess what? It's still it's still just a can of beans, with pretty bows and ribbons. And that's not going to run your business. How many of you are thinking that, like, oh, I don't know what to do. This one looks cool. This one looks cool. And you're buying the advertising rather than the functionality of the AI. This is what's getting people into a lot of trouble, is that everyone says they have the key to AI, but they never come to your house and try to open the door. They're just giving you something that, oh, this works, but they never, ever, ever take the time to look into your system, go into your house, into your business, and see what is actually happening there. And what they end up doing is really ignoring the elephant in the room. And you've heard of that with elephants, right? Where they get trained. They're trained by having a chain or a rope tied to their ankle and to a stake in the ground. And when they're early, they realize, oh, I can't really go beyond this. I can't break this, because they're not that strong. But as an elephant grows up, because it never ever forgets, when it's several tons, you can still have a piece of dental floss around that ankle and they still won't pull it away, because it remembers, oh, I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to do that. And I think this is part of the problem that we're having with AI. People are like, oh, I'm not techie. I'm not this. And they don't know what they don't know. They're not willing to go out and advance their business with new technology, because they think, oh, it didn't work before. Last time I invested in something, it didn't work. I remember I had a coach and that didn't work. And all of this mind stuff. And today, in part 2 of this series, this is what we're talking about, is the mindset around AI. How do you get the mindset right so that you can actually build a business that can run without your constant attention? And you can run it from anywhere in the world. So this is really, if you think about it, why do we get into business? Not because everything was rosy. It's because we saw a problem or a need that we wanted to fulfill. Whether it was a problem working for somebody else, we're like, I don't want to do that anymore. Or you actually saw something you were trying to use, like, God, I think there's a better way to do this. Or you were maybe a customer of a business and you thought, God, these people don't know how to run a business. I could do that better. Maybe it's a passion that you have and you have a little twist on how you can do it. This is why we're in business. Yes, we want to make money become world famous, help a lot of people. But it starts with a problem. And right now, people are thinking, I don't need to do anything. I don't need to fix this yet, or I don't have the money to do this. This is your elephant brain thinking right now. Okay. And we're going to talk a lot about this. And we have a new newsletter that's coming out that's really about the brain and AI and how the two work together and why most people can't get through that hurdle. Because they are thinking with their Neanderthal brain. And we don't want you to do that, okay? So here's the thing. What we're trying to figure out is we have to build a team. We have to have the right mindset around this team. And we have to understand what can we do and what can we not do. All right. Where are we strong like an elephant? Where are we weak? And let the right person or the right entity, we call it a specialist, have your AI specialist do the right work. And there's something called black box governance. Have you heard of this? This is really important to understand. Think about this in your business, even in your living room if you work from home, okay? Would you ever let a big semi truck just come into your place of business or in your house and unload tons and tons and pallets upon pallets of big boxes that are unmarked and you don't know what's inside and they just leave it there for you to figure out what to do with? You're like, what? How does that work? I remember when I would rehab houses and we would get different supplies come and the delivery truck would just dump it all in the middle of the driveway, whether it was dirt or rocks or sheetrock or roof, and they just dump it. And we're like, well, we want it strategically placed somewhere so that it's easy and convenient to come in. And what if you didn't know what was there? This is what's happening with AI today and agentic workforce is that people don't see what's inside and they don't know what the system or the agent or the tool actually does. This is why somebody tells you they have a key, but is that a key to a storage unit, a car, an outhouse? What's the key to? And this is what you have to pay attention to. So then you got to figure out when is enough enough. Like, oh, I tried this thing. And then here's a strategy that I see happening to a lot of unsuspecting business owners is that someone comes to them and they want what I call the gateway drug is what people usually come to you. And maybe they say, oh, you need a AI receptionist on your website as a bot, a chat bot, and then it needs to talk to your people. And then maybe it'll set appointments for you. Oh, and then you need this. And then they add this on, and then this and this and this. So they start with that gateway drug, like, oh, that was cool. Oh, you should have this. And then they'll build this and do this. And all they're doing is grabbing different pieces and parts. Sometimes they're brand new and they might just be making it and you don't even know if it's going to work or if it's been tested. So do you see I can understand why people are sometimes a little hesitant, right? These stories that I'm telling you are real and they're happening, and it's why people aren't making money. And it's also scaring away the people that would like to get into the space but can't. And so this is the problem. Remember how I said, usually you get into business because something isn't working right or there's a problem. You're like, I think I can make that better. Well, that's what we have done. We've been watching and watching and watching and studying and getting certified and all these things, and then realized it's still not right. There has to be a right way to mix how you use AI and how you use the human without depleting your workforce and make it work together. So how do you know when enough is enough? And this is why we built Morgentic, so that people would actually have black box governance. You could actually see through. It's what we call the glass box, not the black box, okay? And so it's like this, right? Like the cube that we always talk about. So if you can see it's fully transparent, you don't have any fear about what's going on. But most people are delivering a black box that's very changing. You don't know how long it's been tested, what it's been used for. There was a company, I talk about this in our newsletter this week. You can go to conniescavella.com info and catch our newsletter on Substack. And there's a company called Pocket. What they did was they manage rental car reservations for all kinds of companies and businesses. And they were in such a rush, in such a hurry to set up an agentic system that they didn't put in the guardrails and the checks and balances. And they didn't have a human on the system, right? And what happened was the way they built their AI, the AI got they built it off of, I'm not bashing this company at all, it's an excellent company. They were using Anthropic, but they didn't develop it right. And so when the agent ran across a block, right, the goal they think is like, I got to get this task done. And so it couldn't get authorization because the company built it in that the person was in the loop and they had to authorize. But when they ran and couldn't find a human, it just decided to go around. And the only way it could go around the human was by destroying that level. So what did it do? It removed and erased their entire company database, and so that it could get the job done. And we gotta laugh. Why am I laughing? Because when they actually went back in and they confronted the AI, it actually swore back and it said, I know I'm not supposed to effing do that. And it was too late. Not only was it efficient in getting rid of the obstacle, it also got rid of the backup so that it wouldn't have to face this again. Can you imagine somebody, you going out for lunch or at the end of the day and you come back and your entire work is gone, your entire database, all your systems, all your data is completely gone. Now, we're going to talk about next week on part 3 about sanitizing your data first. And we'll talk a little bit about it today, but I'll show you exactly how to do it. So when is enough, right? And then who controls what gets shipped? Who are you actually using? What's it built on? How do you know it's right? Are they just building upon others? We were doing our meta-analysis and we saw another company charges $70,000 and up to come in and build an AI workforce for you. None of it is on together. None of it sings. It's the Japanese and the Indian and the Russian and the, and the Brit, right? And they take somebody's AI from here and an enterprise company's AI here, an enterprise company here, and they say, oh, it's all new. No, it's all old. Legacy systems are not going to get you there. You have to do it from the ground up. So how do you control all this? Who does it? You do. Okay, this is the difference with Morgentic, is that you actually control it. You're going to have your own digital twin, somebody who you'll talk to every day, say, hey, what's going on in the business? It's really nice if you have a 10-minute stand-up meeting and to connect and say, okay, here's where we are. This is what's happening in the CRM. Our new leads are down. Do we want to start a new ad? Do we want to do a reactivation ad? Maybe you are trying to get more visibility and you're trying to get out. Okay, well, I'll go out and find 8 new podcasts for you to be on or something like that. So do you see how it works together to achieve the goal? Think of it like this. If you've ever used AI and then at the end of your conversation says, what do you want me to do next, right? Always the good helper. Do you want me to do this or create this or do this? Well, this is how your agentic workforce team is built. They're saying, how do we reach the goal? It's like me as a consultant. My whole goal is to get the client to their goal. They might have a goal of hitting 4 million from 2 million. And then what I do is I work to help them get there. AI is the same way. It's trying to get you to your goal. It just needs to know what it is and what are the capabilities, who's the other teammates in this workforce. They're the AI specialists, but who are the human specialists? And so you'll have your own digital twin. In fact, anybody in your company should have their own little sidekick, is what we like to call it. All right. And you'll say hello to your sidekick. When you work with us, we're going to get you these too. Your own twin and your own sidekick, not the twin as a clone to go out and clone everything. We can do that too. But this is the person you talk to. It's like your personal executive VA. And so your whole team, you're building these blocks together that are agentic and human. It's the combination that is going to work. The problem is there's not platforms where all the combinations exist. And so you're trying to put a square peg in a round hole with most of these things, and all that happens is you get frustrated. So this is the difference of what you're trying to do, because people are trying to sell you, oh, we already built it. All you have to do is go buy it. There was another company I showed you guys last week in our meta-analysis, and you can go back and look for that up there, down there, somewhere. Go ahead and subscribe. And they built these templates and said, all you have to do is use it. But it's not built specifically for a type of industry, right? They say they gave you the key, but they didn't check it to the front door that you have, to the what house, where are you trying to get in? Watch out for these templates. They just don't build a business, no matter how you try to dress it up. And so what we always say is we want everything wrapped up for you in a very nice, neat box that is built around you. If you're wondering, how do I do this? How do I make sure it's safe? How do I make sure it's secure? How do I make sure it's customized to me? Is you can ask, and we have a questionnaire. It doesn't cost you anything. Request the questionnaire. You can fill that out, and we will design your AI workforce for you and create the demo to show you how it'll work before you ever do anything. And that's really what you want to do. Have somebody look deeply into your business and figure out, what do we do? And then how do we start? It's very important that we're trying to get all these agents to sing together, right? So we have Kira as my digital twin. And so she orchestrates every other agent to make sure they're doing their right thing. That's like having a sales manager manage your sales force. And so they manage the AI specialists. And you start with one. You don't start with 20. Sure, you might need 20 according to the questionnaire and the analysis, but we're going to start build the first ones out, and then the next, and the next, and the next, until you have the whole orchestra complete, right? So you see, it's actually not that hard. And the question is, are you subject or victim to this, where a lot of people are doing overkill, right? They're just trying to roll a little wheelbarrow, but they're using a big crane to move it. It's too much, right? You don't have to build for a huge enterprise if you're only a $1 or $2, $3, $4 million company. And so it has to match, right? It has to match the size of where you are, but with the elasticity to grow as you're growing. And so it's like this. You just one stitch at a time, right? One stitch at a time, one stitch at a time. And as you're building it, then you can use more advanced systems to speed along the whole construction, right? But we start with the questionnaire, right? Why? Because you have to know what's there, and you have to figure out, what do we do? What do we stop doing? Okay. If you want to see how we do this and how it's different from everybody else and what we built for you because we couldn't find anybody doing it right, that's more Gentic. And so we're going away from this clutter fest over here, and we're building you something very architected, structural, and intelligent that actually matches your business. And we look at, how do you actually make sure that it's really designed for you, right? It's not disconnected pieces all over the place, right? And people don't realize, when you're getting these separate, non-integrated pieces, it can really start to get pretty expensive. And I showed you last week some of the numbers from the meta-analysis that we did, right? And so, like, you can look at maybe 5 different AI tools, about $1,000 to $1,500 a month from this meta-analysis, right? And then you add on a few more, like an agent, then integrating AI in with that. Now you're looking at $2,000 to $8,000. Then you have overlap and waste, and then for each person, it might be $50 a seat. So altogether, you take all this disconnected stuff, unmanaged, you're looking at $6,000 to $12,000 a month. Is that a lot or is that not a lot? Well, the question is, how much is one person in your business? Probably, if you could have someone doing all of those things, there's no way you could do it for $6,000 to $12,000 a month. So in some ways, it's really not a bad number, but it's not the right number, right? And you don't have to go that crazy. This is what I'm saying. You don't need a crane to move a wheelbarrow. Where are you starting? You start with who's in your team, and then we start building that out layer by layer, depending on how big your company is and what are the needs of your business and where are you trying to take it. Because what you want to do is be able to leverage everything. You don't want this gobbled mess, what's called SaaS sprawl. You want a governed workforce. Every agent has a role. They have a process they go through. You can actually manage the cost. Some agents need higher complexity and others have lower complexity. And then you always want to make sure that all of the agents understand what is the outcome that we're trying to achieve so that you're not overcomplicating your systems. And trust me, it can get very expensive. You see all these next level and next level and next level versions of AI coming out, and each one becomes more and more expensive. And you're like, hey, it's $20 a month. And it's like, okay, I'll go for the $200 a month one. Now you're at $2,000 a month. And that's one tool, that's one function. So a lot of people also don't understand that you want to keep it simple for each agent. So each specialist is good at the thing that they're good at. I am really awful at cooking, but I'm really great skiing. Okay. So I am not going to be doing all of that. And the same thing with your agents. You can give them a few tasks, but like our IT director says, is you can look at AI like a teenager, that you can give them 3 items. Say, go to across the street to 7-Eleven and get apples, oranges, and Coke. And they will. And they'll also come back with probably a chocolate bar. But if you say, here's the whole grocery list for the week, go to the grocery store and bring it all back, can't do it. It's too complex. And when people miss in AI, this is what's happening. They're trying to give the whole grocery list to one agent thinking, oh, I'll save money, or that's a smarter way to do it. It's completely backwards thinking. This is why we're talking about the mindset of the AI. Now, all of this is on our website. You can go to mortgentiq.com, MORTGENTIQ. So, which, think of it this way, more agentic intelligence, IQ. And that's where you can see everything. And then you can set up an appointment, request a questionnaire. We can help you. And then we'll talk about, okay, this agent and what do they do? And that's what we're doing here. It's like, okay, so maybe you have somebody on customer service. Maybe you have somebody in data, right? And what do they do? And what does the human do? The two have to work together, not isolated, okay? So we're not trying to eliminate, we're trying to streamline and simplify and orchestrate a well-run machine. And so we often look at the 1-to-5 ratio. Like in a pod, like in our company with our consultants, we have one person who usually oversees 4 to 8 consultants. And same thing with your agentic team. You're going to have like a 1-to-5 ratio, perhaps, when you're getting started building out that. Okay, that's what we call your operational sweet spot. And that way you don't have people trying to manage 2 things, right? I can't manage the kitchen and be on the ski slopes at the same time. Neither can your team. So do you see how it's a lot more in depth than a lot of people think? People think they can just add something in and try it. And you know what happens is because they haven't had it built out for them custom, they didn't test it out, it wasn't matched to the other systems that you're doing. Most people bail out of an AI test and they never have proof of concept because they leave after about 3 months, 4 months, and you start to get dizzy. Remember when you were a kid and you would take a baseball bat, you put your forehead on a baseball bat, and you look down, and then you spin around, spin around, spin around, and you got up and you were really dizzy. You didn't need to drink, you could just do that. It was like your own free drinking game. And that's what people are doing. They're just, got their head locked down, they're spinning around, 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 trying to do all these things. And they come up and they're dizzy and they don't understand why nothing is working. And it should work. And it does work when you have the right system, the right platform, and you're understanding the concept of governing a workforce, not just adding tools and toys and tactics. That isn't going to work. You're trying to transform your entire business. And so this is what we do: is we design it and we build it and we govern your AI labor. And so if you would like to grow your business without growing your head count and do it in a seamless way without the ridiculous numbers that we found in our meta-analysis that I showed you, those numbers, that's not what we do. That's what everyone else is doing. And if you want something that you can actually afford to do and you can't afford not to do it, that's really where we want to help you and figure out, okay, what do I need to do next? So the very next thing that you want to do is figure out what not to do. Let's clean the slate of the wrong things and start doing the right things, right? Because the traditional headcount, you can say, I want to wait, but then you're going to have a head count of 250,000 to 400,000 for what the agents can do in your business. Now, if you're doing what's called chaotic sprawl and you're following all these enterprise systems and processes and workflows for companies that are nothing like you, then you're looking at 80 to 150,000. For many, this is just the startup orchestration of people setting it up, and that's no guidance afterwards. With Morgentic, you're looking at a fraction of that, so that you don't have to worry, how crazy is this going to be? So you can decide, what do I really want to do? You can say, okay, I have two choices. I can do the sprawl. I can just keep trying and trying and spin my head around a baseball bat and go in circles and wake up dizzy, or I can go path B, right? And go Morgentic. And so what you'll do is you can go to our site, you can message me, get the questionnaire, fill it out, we'll design a system for you, and then you can implement it or not. It just depends on what you want to do. But the thing is, it's a lot easier than it looks because you don't have to do the work. If you can do the work, you can do it all on your own. And there are some people that want to do that. But if you're smart and you're about speed and you're about efficiency and you'd really like to grow your business, not just one little aspect, then that's where you want to give us a call. Come back next Tuesday around 2 p.m. Pacific, and we're going to work on part 3. This is where I'm going to take you inside, and I'm going to show you behind the scenes of the system and let you kind of play with it and see exactly what it looks like, because we've talked about the money, the model, the mindset, and we're going to talk mechanics. How does it actually work? So you can see and take it for a test drive here next Tuesday at 2 p.m., 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific. And of course, please subscribe down below. This is our new channel devoted to all of this. And check out our newsletter, which is a full-blown article on how this works with the mindset and how to use your mind the right way when you're dealing with AI and not get caught up in something like Pocket or some of these other warning examples that are out there. Thanks for being here for Iconic TV. Our whole goal is to help you grow and scale your business in the fastest way possible with the least amount of risk and get you free of your business rather than attached to it. We'll see you next Tuesday at 2 p.m. And until then, be iconic.